Well, it's day 5, my last day here in Mies, and yeah, I'm gonna be a bit sad to go actually. It's a really fascinating island, and I've met some really lovely and nice and friendly people and had some cool adventures and found some really awesome kind of spots all around the coast. So it's been really awesome, but I'm super excited to get back to Laurel and the boys. This is my last breakfast, using up the last of my yogurt and honey and muesli. Now I've had a tidy up in the room, so it's not too much work. Apparently the person that cleans the room is the same woman that works at Maltemi, which is where I go for my sundowner beer. I met her yesterday, and yeah, she knew what room I was in and shit, so definitely feels like everybody knows who you are and where you're staying and who you're staying with, and it's a small place, that's for sure. Boom. No more way around like a local now, straight to the port. I'm pretty excited because I've been here a week now, and this is the first time I've ordered a coffee, and they bought me a bottle of water as well. So I think I might be starting to be accepted into the island. I'm right next to the bell tower. Last night at the restaurant I had moussaka and dolmades, and it was delicious, but it was quite busy. They sat me down at a table on my own in the corner, and there was like no tablecloth, no salt and pepper, no. They bought me my dinner, and they did bring me cutlery, but and bread. I'll give them that, but they never brought any like I just went and helped myself to the olive oil and salt and pepper off a different table, and I never got a bottle of water there. I had to drink my own water. But it's fine, I still really like it. You don't go there for the service, you go there for the food, and the food was really awesome. And the whole place is run by 2 women in the kitchen and 2 women, and quite elderly women, doing all the waiting. And they work 7 days a week, and they're open till probably well after midnight every day. And they said they sleep in the winter, and laughed. From here you can kind of see the whole history of the island. From 14,000 BC to 9,000 BC, there was like Neolithic people here. They found flint. And up on the top of the hills there's Lycian tombs. That's a mosque. They turned that into a museum. They didn't smash it down. And that's the castle. It's not red, so I don't think Kastellorizo comes from Red Castle, which some people have argued. Now I think down here is the remnants of the Italian governor's building. All the articles about Kastellorizo point that out to you. Yeah, they kept the rubble of it and put a sign on it, so I don't think that they had a particular enjoyment of being ruled by Italy were the governing authorities from like after World War I till after World War II, and they seems like they're pretty happy to see the back of them. Frano and Millie, what are you doing? You're supposed to warn us if anyone came. No, I think we're okay. I think it's just I think it's our guys on patrol. Didn't recognise them from that far out. That's Shay and Joel out there, and a load of cut-out mannequins, because we don't actually have any soldiers. Then apparently all the islands of the Aegean were passed to Ptolemaios, and then the Romans took over. And then it became the base for a couple of pirates, Kilikas and Charis. Then it was the Byzantine era, and that lasted for I think like 900 years, and the island did really well then. And some people think that Saint Helene came by and built a small chapel, which is covered by that church there. Then after that there were the Crusades, and apparently that island just got smashed during the Crusades. The Knights of St John were on Rhodes, and I think they were here as well, and a lot of the islanders got taken into slavery. The Egyptians were here. I think it's rush hour. The castle got destroyed and the island pretty much fell into ruins. The Catalans were here for a while. The King of Naples took over. And then in 1480 all the inhabitants had to leave because of problems with Turkey. The King of Naples came back again. The Venetians were here. Then it was under Spanish control for quite a while. The castle was destroyed and rebuilt quite a few times, and eventually the Turks took over, and they were here until the revolution. In 1821 this was a really prosperous island, and there was lots of merchant ships here, and the islanders were ready for revolution, so they sent all the wives and the kids away to other islands, and they turned their ships into battleships, and they attacked the Turkish fleet in Antalya, and they won that battle. Apparently they were quite feared. They were a big part of the Greek fleet, and Greece won its independence. But it seems like these islands remained under Turkish control even after the revolution. Then in 1913, some Cretans came, and the islanders decided to raise the Greek flag, which was quite a big deal because Turkey is so close, and they really wanted to be part of the Greek homeland. So they raised the flag, and unfortunately that put an end to the time of prosperity. The island's so far east. The French took advantage of the situation, and they landed here and occupied it and used it as a base for, I guess they had some war action going on in Syria. Yeah, so at the end of World War One, they were expecting the French to hand the island back to Greece, but instead they gave it to Italy. And then the Italians were here all the way till the end of World War II, and that's when a lot of people left. Like apparently in 1910 there was 15,000 people here, and then by 1945 there was only 1,500 people. So most people left, went to Australia, America, and other parts of Greece. Then in 1943 it was finally liberated. A Greek warship came into port, and they could hardly convince the locals that it was true. They'd had 800 years of being governed by other people, even though they were, culturally Greek and wanted to be part of Greece. There was a huge celebration, and then the Germans bombed the island. The Allies took the few remaining inhabitants to Cyprus and to Palestine, and because this was the first islands to be liberated, the Allies used it as a base to liberate the other islands, and apparently there were New Zealand soldiers here, but also they think there was a lot of looting, and then there was a huge fire in the wealthy part of town, and they think it was started deliberately by the Allies or the English to cover up the looting. And there was munitions there, so that pretty much destroyed that whole area underneath the castle. And then when the inhabitants came back, they came back to all their possessions stolen and half the houses burnt and destroyed. Then finally, in 1948, Kastellorizo got reunited with Greece, and it's been part of Greece ever since. Looks like Tane's having a barbecue. We've only got one ship, Tane. So that's goodbye to Kastellorizo. Really amazing people. I really hope I can come back sometime.